Hi guys. Today we're going to talk about trust. Trust. Seems like such an innocent word, right? It's actually one of the most powerful words in the universe. Trust. When you're born, you learn to trust. If I'm hungry and I cry, someone's going to feed me. If I'm wet, someone will change me. If I'm hurt, someone will heal me. You learn to trust that things are going to appear when they're supposed to. And, with your parents, you learn you can trust them for pretty much anything. Safety, protection, scare away the boogeyman, love, nurturing, your food. You count on them for everything. And unfortunately, some of us don't have that. And again, I am not faulting and I am not blaming. I'm just being real. And if someone in my past was intent on harming, that's on them. That's on them to live with. That's on them to deal with and on them to answer to. I'm just saying my perception of my life. I didn't have that. And fear should never, never be replaced by trust. And trust means in your core, no matter what, this person got your back. And if you don't gain that as a child, you question it for a very, very long time. And you start to not trust yourself. So you don't have that foundation of trust at home. So it's time to go to school. And it's time to welcome people into your lives. And with welcoming, you got to trust. You got to trust that this person's going to like you. And unfortunately, you don't have that foundation, so you don't know how to trust people. And you basically say, okay, well, if I'm this perfect little child and I don't question and I pretty much don't, if I stay in my little corner, I'm not seen and I'm not heard, I'm okay. So that's what I'll do. And, unfortunately, you're not meant to sync up with everybody. You're not meant to, not everyone is going to like you. And unfortunately, it took me 50 years to realize that. So you make relationships in school, out in the community, your neighbors, and you learn that there's a lot of people you don't trust. So now you start to lead into relationships. And, when you're young and you have your first kiss on the playground, and that's all it is. But it's an amazing memory to have. But then you move into dating. And all of your friends are already dating. And you see them with their boyfriends and girlfriends. And, your hormones are raging. And you want what everyone else has. And you see these people kind of morph into a shared commitment, and you long for that because you want someone to trust. You want someone to love you. And, I found that, or so I thought. And it took a while for me to trust enough to be intimate. And the first time I was, yes, it was painful. And yes, I cried like a baby because of the emotions that flooded through me. And just when we were done and having that very, very vulnerable, intimate moment, my bedroom door come crashing down. And there was one of my siblings with some of the neighborhood. So it took that very vulnerable, trusting, intimate moment and turned it into embarrassment. And again, trust was taken. So a couple months in, he had to leave and he was moving and he made a lot of promises. And deep down inside, I knew. And within 2 months, the letters stopped. And then his best friend told me that he had moved on and was marrying and having a child. That was my first real heartbreak. And I was mortified that I heard from someone else. And that kind of started just continuing my lack of trust, not only in people, but myself. Because maybe I wasn't lovable. Maybe I wasn't deserving to trust people. And maybe it just wasn't meant to be for me. Because I think love and trust go hand in hand. So for a few years after that, I knew how to love. I didn't know how to trust. And, I had a relationship that lasted very briefly. And I was intimate. And then unfortunately, he was caught with another woman. Again, no, I knew not to trust him. Then I had a evening encounter where I kept saying no. And I wanted so bad to tell someone what happened. I didn't trust anyone. I didn't trust anyone because I said, it's my fault. I shouldn't have been there. I shouldn't have trusted this person because I didn't trust anyone else. So now I get married. And I wanted to trust. I wanted to trust his family. I wanted to trust him. And pretty much daily I was reminded not to trust. So over the years, I just kept building a wall. And I would literally set people up. I'm going to test you. And I'm going to see if you're trustworthy. And unfortunately, when you put a condition and motivate, or not motivate, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but you manipulate the outcome. You're going to get the outcome that you manipulated. So I would set these people up for trust, knowing that they were going to break it. And when they broke it, I just built a higher wall. And by the end of that first marriage, man, I had a fortress. Oh my God. They made Neville Island look, I don't know if it's Neville Island. I don't know. What? I had a castle with big, huge tower spikes on top of it and a moat. It's flesh-eating fish. And outside of that moat was fire-breathing dragons. And no one was going to get in. No one. I definitely didn't trust people, let alone myself. Nope, not happening, because, you know, you leave a relationship and for 15 years you're told, we don't know what we would do without you. You're the best thing that ever happened to him. And then all of a sudden, you're nothing. Nothing. Nope. 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 How could you do this? So you don't trust. Well, now I'm alone. And I didn't know how to be alone because I didn't trust myself being alone. So I literally jumped right in. Right in. The incident happened in October, and by December, I was moving into a relationship, and I didn't trust him. Didn't matter. He was the opposite of what I had. He was not going to hit me, he was not going to yell at me, and he was not going to cheat on me. And compared to what I had, that was enough. That's all I needed. It was a body. Now, knowing what I know, that relationship never stood a chance. So I didn't trust him, I didn't trust me, and I sure as hell was not going to let him do anything for me. And I was going to set him up every single chance I got to prove I couldn't trust him, and he didn't love me. And if you haven't gotten that chance, please go back and watch my video, New Beginning. And that is where I tell my story on how I broke. I broke in every way possible. And I didn't trust a single soul, not even my children. I didn't trust anyone. I didn't even trust God, because the many, many times I begged God to save me, in my mind, He didn't. He let me endure such physical pain, emotional pain, and so I didn't trust. And yet, that night, I don't know what it was, and I know some people are going to think I was crazy, but I had that argument of the angel and the devil. And somewhere deep, deep inside of me was that little girl that I had locked away many, many, many years ago because something devastating happened to her. And when I tried to speak up, I wasn't seen or heard. So I locked her away to protect her, so no one could ever hurt her again. And she is the reason that I threw up some of the pills. And she has been fighting for me. And I trust her. Now I trust me. And I'm slowly trusting. I have a very select few that I can trust. And the more vulnerable I am doing videos like this, the more I'm learning to trust. Because growing up, you try to trust in your siblings, family members, friends, and you share a part of you, a secret. And unfortunately, I learned that those secrets get used against you. And some of them may have been accidental, but many, 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 many were done deliberate. And there was a competition on putting the other one down. So now I'm learning to trust. But the biggest thing that I stopped doing, I stopped setting people up. It's very, very vulnerable. And this is how pathetic I was and how I'm trying to get better. I would ask for help to clean out my garage. And everybody would say, "Oh, I'll be there, I'll help you." And I'd wait and wait and wait, and no one would show. And I would cry, and I would be hurt. And I'd build a little bit more of that wall back up. And then I'd go in and I would do it myself. And, it's tough. However, I started realizing my pattern. I know that I want to clean out my garage, and yet I post it on Facebook, which, seriously? I mean, for real, nothing against anyone, but most people that you have on Facebook, you don't even know, and they don't even live near you, because those are the ones that you make a much stronger connection with. The ones that you truly know and are there, there's not a constant communication. And again, Facebook, I post something at 10 a.m. asking for help. Somebody may not get on there because they have a life and they don't share everything on Facebook. They might not get it till 8 o'clock the next day. So I set everyone up to fail me. Okay? So now, if I need help, I know local people that I have trust that they will come and help me. And maybe not in my time, but when time allows. And I build off of that. I'm working on trust. And right now, I have been able to take that big, huge castle and tear it down. And right now, I have a electric fence. The way I look at it is, you can see me. You can come close. But you need to ask me if you can come in. Because if not, you're going to get zapped. And it took me a long time to trust myself to build or tear everything down. However, know that I need that fence because it's a boundary, and it's a healthy boundary. And what it tells people is, I love myself enough to put a barrier between us. And yet, I can control how much you come in and out of my life. And with that, I don't have to set you up, because now I love me. Now I trust me. And you know what? I know who's there for me. And it takes time to build that. And yeah, I don't share deep, dark secrets, because I don't have somebody in my life yet, physically. I grew up in a Catholic faith. And yet, as a little girl, I saw the hypocrisy. I don't know the word I'm looking for, but hypocrisy. And getting married, I saw more hypocrisy. And then trying to remarry after an abusive marriage, I saw major, major hypocrisy. And, you know, it's trust takes a lot. Again, I didn't trust God. I didn't trust my parents. I definitely didn't trust my siblings or many, many of my friends, because, you know, I set them up. I didn't give you a chance. I wasn't going to trust you. So I'm working on trust. And I work every day on trust. I do trust my angels. And I know that they'll send me a sign. And I trust a few. And those that I trust know that I trust them. And every day I'm going to work on trust, because I trust me. I love me. And when and if I'm ready for a relationship, it will be based on trust and not manipulation, not a game. I will trust being me. And until that happens, sorry, electric fence. So, guys, trust yourself, trust your gut. And I just want you to understand that trust is something that grows and grows throughout your lifetime. And you may just have to learn trust all over again. But you can give it to yourself. And you can literally weed out those that violate your trust, and surround yourself with very loving, trusting people that no matter what you do, they may call you out on it, but they'll still love you unconditionally. So have an awesome day. Trust that tomorrow is a new day. And if you have to start with that, that's what I did. I trusted that I would wake up. And when I wake up tomorrow, I'm going to thank the universe for allowing me a new day, new opportunities,